Hi everyone, welcome to this live stream. I'm gonna jump right in because we have a lot to cover and this is a really big live stream. It's huge actually, and I hope that you share it. I hope that people really have an open mind and heart when they come to this conversation. I hope that you're willing to learn new information that might be uncomfortable for you, and I hope that you're willing to own the discomfort and really dig into it and follow all the paper trails, receipts, as Young Pharaoh likes to call them. Shout out to that dude. I'm going to be sharing some of his content on tonight's live because there's receipts for everything. And my job and my prerogative is to teach you guys how to think. I don't want you to think any kind of specific way. I want to teach you how to think. I want to teach you how to see beyond what you're being presented with and given, because you are being controlled every second of every freaking day and we don't even realize that. So my job is to help you to learn how to think. I'm going to present information that might go against what you understand or what you believe. And that is because a lot of what I'm going to present you've never even friggin' seen. Okay? And that's real important. Some of this research, majority of this research is my own. It's just me digging and pulling up weeds. Some of it belongs to other people and they will be giving credit where credit is due. I'm not here to try and take anybody's research. I just want to share stuff because it's relevant and I understand not everybody has access. And then I want to say thank you to my patrons. A lot of you have joined the Patreon community recently. I'm so grateful for you. Thank you for the support of my work. Means a great deal. Okay, so a little bit of background about what I'm about to talk to you about and why only one without sound. That's weird. Can y'all hear me? I want to make sure you can hear me. Yeah, my mic is picking up. You might need to put up your audio if you're not hearing me, Mark. Leah, can you confirm, since you're online, that you can hear me? I want to make sure my sound is on. Okay, Angela has sound. Good. So check your sound settings. You might need to click it on. So I am a first generation Cuban American. My family came here from Cuba. Okay, I am not white. I'm brown. I didn't come here. My parents didn't even speak English. They had to work whatever job they could get. They had a 4-month-old baby, which is my older brother. Escaping communism, which by the way was sold to them as socialism, not communism. That's how you get into communism. They don't come at you with a communist manuscript, by the way. On top of that, my grandparents and my great aunts and uncles were involved in a revolution in Cuba. So when Castro came into power and everybody realized what was going on, that it was not what they thought it was going to be, that Batista actually, this was not better than what they had before, little insurgencies started forming to try and get people off the island as quickly as possible because of what was going on. My great aunt, who I shall not name by name, was actually an American CIA informant in Cuba. So she was helping then, I believe it was at that time Kennedy, who was, if I'm not mistaken, president. My heart is racing. Oh my gosh. I've never really fully told this story. There's a lot of details to my family people don't really know, but suffice this to say that my great aunt was working for the American CIA in Cuba. She was trying to get people off of this island. My grandparents were involved, my mom's side, grandfather, grandmother, great uncles, great aunts, and they got caught. And when they got caught, my grandfather went to jail for 6 years. My grandmother went to jail for 7 years. My great aunt went to jail for 30 years, served 15 years. My great uncle went to jail for 10 years, and many more of them. Okay, so I come from a family that was directly affected by really poor decision making and brainwashing and groupthink. Okay, my family suffered tremendously so that my ass could be in this country communicating to all of you right now some very fucking serious truths. This is not a broadcast for children. None of the videos are for children and my mouth is not for children tonight. So wear some headphones or go into a room separate is what I'm going to say. Okay? So I feel an obligation to communicate this to you because of what my family did. I'm not trying here to be famous. Everybody know me, think I'm super smart. I don't give a fuck. I'm here because if we don't wake up and collectively start thinking outside of the narrative we're being fed, we are going to be fucked. So I'm not going to be polite about it. I'm here to give you information and teach you guys something that's really, really important. So please freaking listen. I have a reason for what I'm saying. I'm not speaking out of my butt. I come from an entire country that fell under sweet talk and got their asses handed to them. Okay? Now that that is cleared, the next thing I'm going to say, many of us are protesting in this country for lots of different reasons and in lots of different levels, okay? We need multi-level protesting right now. We don't just need one level protesting right now. We need multi-level protesting, okay? We need protesting on the ground. We need protesting on the internet. We need protesting in the government. And we need protesting in the spiritual, energetic realms. Do not be upset because someone you know is not protesting the way you want them to protest. Everybody can't be protesting the same thing because we need massive radical change and it ain't gonna come from just one angle. And I'm about to show you on this nifty chart that I have built for you why it doesn't work that way, okay? So stop knocking the other people like me who are sharing information that's not directly related to the murder that we just witnessed because there's so much behind that. And those of us who are trying to get this information out are just trying to illuminate where you really want to go for change if you really want this to end and you want this drama and this injustice and this bullshit to come to a close, then I'm going to tell you where to go. And if you want to still hit it from the ground, hit it from the ground. We need you too. But we need the other people too who are disseminating information and educating the public because that's the brilliance of having social media and we need everybody. Okay? So let me just clear that up. This is a fight for a country and a globe. Because where America goes, everyone goes. We are really it right now. All eyes on us. So the decisions that we make and what happens here is going to affect the entire globe. Take that responsibility as strongly as I'm implying it because it matters a ton that you do. Okay? Now, let's get into what our government is set up like and where we need to be focusing. Shall we? Turn this over here real quick. Some of these words I can't say because I'll be flagged and my broadcast will end. So I'm going to spell. At the bottom, you probably can't see the bottom. You have citizens. Citizens. That's us. You, me, normal people in this country rolling around. Okay? Above that, you got police. Okay? Law enforcement. Everybody mad at them right now. But I'm going to tell you why you can be mad at the establishment. You can. Sure, fine. Lots of people in the police don't even know it's fucked up. They don't know. They don't know. That's why they're saying there's good people in the police. Of course they are, because they got in there and they had no idea what the hell was going on. A lot of people came in here thinking they were doing something noble. Okay? So that's why you have people saying that. Because yes, this shit has been overrun by systemic injustice, absolutely. But lots of people in there do not know that. They don't know that. Okay? So it ain't really their fault because they don't know. They just go in there thinking they're doing something good for society. Okay? Then above them, and it's not always in this order, but mostly, you got mayors, governors, okay? Up here, I put these three branches. You have Congress, your representatives, and your senators, which are really the ones making decisions and pushing bills. Y'all need to pay attention to these motherfuckers right here because they're doing all of the bill passing. And we're so distracted by what's happening over here, we don't realize they are the ones pulling strings up here. Y'all need to pay attention to what these people are doing. This is how the country gets shaped. This is how injustices flow down. It don't flow from here. It flow from up here. Okay? So we need to pay attention to this. Corporations, they're making huge ass decisions in this country all the time as well because they got money. Politicians, general politicians are going to go up here in this tree branch as well. Above that, you have the Department of Justice. Department of Justice is exactly what it sounds like. It's supposed to bring justice to the nation, right? And you have these certain branches, 3-letter organizations working with the Department of Justice, okay? This one over here starts with an F and ends with an I, is for domestic intel. These are the people handling the very serious crimes in this country domestically and informing the Department of Justice what the hell's going on. So when murder, kidnappings, bullshit like that, domestic stuff happens, they're supposed to be telling the Department of Justice what's going on. They're supposed to be reporting the Department of Justice and giving them information. Okay? Oh, good, Angela. Sorry, I'm just trying to not make this video like 3 hours long. But I will slow down. But as long as you can understand my enunciation, good. Then you have this one over here. It starts with a C and ends with an A, and my great aunt worked for them. They are for foreign intel. So this organization is going to inform Department of Justice about what's happening elsewhere in the world that's related to the U.S. These people are supposed to be telling these people, that's supposedly their job, what's happening outside that might affect us and what we can do about it. Okay? That's how that works. Up here, you have Commander-in-Chief, which is the president. Okay? Then you got the military. Military responds to the president. That's why it's called the Commander-in-Chief. All right. Are we getting this? We getting this family tree that I built? Is this making sense? All right. Now, some protesting is happening at this level, which is necessary protesting because this needs reform. Okay? All right? Right up here, though, these motherfuckers y'all vote for. Wait a minute. Y'all don't vote for them because people don't want to vote. Okay? These people respond to these people. So if you're voting weak-ass people or you're just letting weak-ass people come into these positions, then these people are going to respond to them. Okay? So become responsible about who you're putting here. Care more, basically, if you want a different behavior and result. Okay? Further up. You also vote for these people too. Representatives and senators. Y'all vote for them too. Y'all select them too. They matter a crap ton because they are making policy which becomes law and amendment. Y'all need to watch who you're voting for. Y'all need to care, okay? At that level too. All right. Up here, the president doesn't have end-all be-all power. Department of Justice actually does. Supreme Court actually does. And that was checks and balances. We all learned that in civics class, okay? When we took civics, okay? To check the president, to avoid a situation where you end up with a dictatorship, a monarchy, etc., etc. So he really doesn't. But it is important who sits here because of the culture down here, okay? This is where I'm going to get into my very first slide. I have a slideshow. I do. He sets the precedent for the culture of the whole dang tree and the whole dang country. Now, lots of y'all might be thinking, that's why we need to pick a president that is nice and appropriate and politically correct and we like to hear and does pretty things and looks good on TV. Negative. Now, I'm going to explain to you why. There's two types of presidents ever. Okay? There is the president that gives a shit about the country and wants to focus on making the country a better place and focuses the majority of the energy on the country that it is president of. This would be called a nationalist. Okay? Then you have globalist presidents. Those are the presidents interested in this shadow-ass, shady-ass background governmental thing happening that nobody know about, which is to create a one-world government where everybody under the same law and order and everybody responds to one thing and you strip individual nations of having an identity and you just control the whole globe with one power. Okay? We're gonna get into that. First slideshow. All right. First of all, I'm going to get into some definitions because I'm aware not everybody knows what I'm talking about. So right now I'm going to tell you before we start, this is no longer a party conversation, and it is now nationalism versus globalism. And y'all need to pay attention now, because we are not talking about parties, and I'm going to prove it to you. Okay? Nationalism, by definition, a sense of national consciousness exalting one nation above all others and placing primary emphasis on the promotion of its culture and interests as opposed to those of other nations or groups. Okay. Nationalist president is focusing majority of their attention on their country, okay? Making their country better, raising up their country, etc., etc. Globalism, national policy of treating the whole world as a proper sphere for political influence. Treating the whole world as a proper sphere for political influence. All right. See also imperialism. Okay. No, thank you. Are we already seeing the situation? Are we already seeing the situation? Okay? Okay. These are the two types of presidents that exist. And I'm going to go through a list of the ones that we've had and what they were. Okay? This is what you're voting for. I want you to forget the fucking Republican Democratic Party for now. Forget they exist. And from now on, when a dang president come up for election, I want you to think about, is this president about this country or not? That's what I want you to ask. Okay? Let's continue. Now, how many of y'all have heard about Agenda 2030? I want to see how many people actually know about this. These are all the points of Agenda 2030. There's 17 of them. I want to know how many of you know that this is an actual UN signed off agenda, okay, for where they want to see the world go. This is a globalist agenda, okay? And let me explain to you how the shadow plan works. It's presented as philanthropy and equality. That's how they present it, because otherwise you're not going to vote for it. You are not going to want to take it in. Okay? Agenda 21. It's the same thing as Agenda 21. It was renamed Agenda 2030. That's the same agenda. Georgia Guidestones, same shenanigans. Okay? They need you to vote for this. They need us to agree to this because they cannot implement this without our participation. Okay? So the job is make it look like philanthropy, get us to vote for it, and then have complete and total domination of the globe. Sound familiar? Sounds like someone's VAXX plan. Okay? Okay? Let me read some points. Okay? You read some points to you. Zoom in because it's tiny font. Okay. Point 1. End poverty in all its forms everywhere. Oh, that sounds great. Translation. Put everyone on government welfare, food stamps, housing subsidies, and handouts that make them obedient slaves to global government. Never allow people upward mobility to help themselves. Instead, teach mass victimization and obedience to a government that provides monthly allowance money for basic essentials like food, medicine. Label it ending poverty. Sound familiar? Sound familiar? We were just discussing that not too long ago. Giving a monthly allowance. That was a Democratic bill, by the way. Let's just call it what it was. Everybody was like, that sounds great. Except when you become dependent on it, then you don't have access to anything else. And that happened in Cuba, by the way. They came in and said everyone will be equal. Everyone will be equal. What they didn't specify was that everyone was going to be equally fucked. Because what happened to my own grandmother, okay, when Castro came into power is they came on her house with the military, knocked on her door and took the deed to her goddamn house. And said, yeah, everyone's equal. Nobody owns fucking property anymore. We do. Yeah? Y'all with me? Y'all with me? All right. Equally fucked. Took their farms, took their houses, took their cars, took everything. Everything. That's how they made everyone freaking equal. Okay? I'm only going to read 2 more points to drive this home, and in my Patreon, I'm going to upload all these slides. My whole Patreon's going to have access to all these slides. And I'm going to have some links for you guys. Okay? Point number 2. End hunger, achieve food security, and improve nutrition, and promote sustainable agriculture. That sounds great! Translation. Invade the entire planet with GMOs and Monsanto's patented seeds while increasing the use of deadly herbicides under the false claim of increased output of food crops. Engineer genetically modified plants to boost specific vitamin chemicals while having no idea of the long-term consequences of genetic pollution or cross-species genetic experiments carried out openly in a fragile ecosystem. Okay. Number 3, ensure healthy lives and promote well-being for all at all ages. Translation, mandate 100 plus vaccines for all children and adults at gunpoint, threatening parents with arrest and imprisonment if they refuse to cooperate. Push heavy medication uses on kids and teens while rolling out screening programs. Call mass medication prevention programs and claim they improve the health of citizens. Yeah? Y'all picking up what I'm putting down? It's about to get real, real, real. I'm doing this for a reason. I want you to understand what the plan was. This is the globalist plan. And there's 17 of these points. Read them all. Put them all on the slides. Read them all. I want to give a shout out to the person who compiled this article. I'm going to share their link as well. But read, okay? Because this is the plan. This is what we are signing up for when we select a globalist president. Okay? Some of y'all might be asking, girl, is this even real? It is real as fuck, y'all. And it's called the Sustainable Development Goals. A collection of 17 global goals designed to be a blueprint to achieve a better and more sustainable future for all. Okay. They want the Hunger Games, y'all. They want them. They're trying to get you to sign up for the Hunger Games. That's what they're trying to do. Okay? Oh, thank you, Mark. Also very educated. Bayer. Yes. Thank you for bringing up Bayer. Bayer and Monsanto's relationship. Thank you. It's so nice having someone here who also knows this stuff. Okay. Let's move on. So now I'm going to show you, before y'all jump, a graph of nationalist and globalist presidents. Okay? And now I'm going to do this to make a point. First point being, it doesn't matter the party, it's just what they believe. Okay? It's not a party thing. Okay? And the second point being, I want you to see what happened to nationalist presidents in our history. Okay? Let's go. All right. I'm just going to leave this right here. Okay? Just gonna. All right. Let's see. Nationalist presidents. Abraham Lincoln, Republican Party. John F. Kennedy, Democratic Party. Donald J. Trump, Republican Party. Globalist presidents fucking everything over. George Bush Sr., Republican. George Bush Jr., Republican. Bill Clinton, Democratic. Barack Obama, Democratic. Please note which presidents are highlighted because they were murdered. Okay? Murdered. They was murdered. But not just by anybody. Let me clarify that one. They were not just murdered by anybody. You want to know who murdered them? Their own people. Their own government. Their own flippin' government. That's who. And by the way, Trump has had 11 attempts at his life since he's been president. Y'all think it's because he's a dick. Which he is. At least I think so. He sounds like one. Often. Okay? Let me clarify that. I didn't vote for his ass. I didn't support him originally, just to be clear. But that's not why they're trying to take him out. Because he's a nationalist president. Okay? He gives a damn about his country. He's trying to get his. He's not interested in this freaking new world, global, everybody. He's not in that. That's not his game. He sees what's going on. I'm going to show you that. I'm going to show you. I have receipts. In the words of young Pharaoh, I have receipts. Okay? So stay. Because I have receipts. But I want you to see what happened to them. They were not killed by random crazy people. In fact, John F. Kennedy's papers were recently released. And you know what they found? Guess who put the hit on his head? Guess who put the hit on his head? It starts with a C and it ends with an A. 3 letters. His own intelligence committee. Okay? Don't tell me no. You can verify that. Stop searching things on Google too, by the way. Use DuckDuckGo. Google's not going to tell you the truth. Not interested in the truth. They're hiding the truth. So in this little graph, I want you to understand that we are beyond party conversation. We're not talking about that. I want a nationalist president. I want a nationalist in the office. Why? Because they in there for me. Not for them and the other people trying to sell my shit and take away my shit. No. Okay? So from now on, when you go to vote, that is your question. Who is here for me? Who is not? Okay? Who is here for me? Who is not? That's the question you ask. Not, does he sound nice on TV? No. Okay? Because I'm going to give you a perfect example about that. I want you to look up Obama and what he signed with Monsanto when he was president. I'm pretty sure everybody on here agree Monsanto is a terrible organization and should not be near our food supply at all. So I want you to look that up. Because I voted for his ass twice. And look where it got us. Okay? So I'm just trying to call myself out on that because I wasn't educated. Now I am. I'm sweating. Need to drink water and carry on. Okay. Now, for y'all to understand a little bit about how this is even, how can we all be brainwashed into voting for globalist presidents again and again and again, which if you notice, we freaking have in a straight line, which is why we are exactly where we are right now. And things just keep getting scarier and scarier and we don't understand what the hell's going on. How is it possible? How is it possible that we got here? Why would they even do that? Is that even real? All right, we're going to go here. This is an interview with Sasha Stone and someone, his name is George Nassif, who is in the intel. We call him a white hat, meaning doing good work. Watch the interview. I'm going to put the link. It's a long interview. I'm not going to share a clip of it, but it's worth understanding because there's a lot of background. There's a lot of backstory. You're going to learn a lot. Sasha Stone is the bomb as well. Okay? Go there. Here's a former KGB. He's a defector. Don't know about KGB? Go back. Go back now. Do your research. Talking about psychological manipulation. So, listen to this video, please. We're going to listen to it together.
Well, you spoke several times before about ideological subversion. That is a phrase that I'm afraid some Americans don't fully understand. When the Soviets use the phrase ideological subversion, what do they mean by it?
Ideological subversion is the process which is legitimate, overt, and open. You can see it with your own eyes. All you have to do, all American mass media has to do, is to unplug the bananas from their ears, open up their eyes, and they can see it. There is no mystery. There is nothing to do with espionage. I know that espionage intelligence gathering looks more romantic. It sells more deodorants through the advertising, probably. That's why your Hollywood producers are so crazy about James Bond type of thrillers. But in reality, the main emphasis of the KGB is not in the area of intelligence at all. According to my opinion and opinion of many defectors of my caliber, only about 15% of time, money, and manpower is spent on espionage as such. The other 85% is a slow process which we call either ideological subversion or active measures, активные мероприятия in the language of the KGB, or psychological warfare. What it basically means is to change the perception of reality of every American to such an extent that despite of the abundance of information, no one is able to come to sensible conclusions in the interests of defending themselves, their families, their community, and their country. It's a great brainwashing process which goes very slow, and it's divided in 4 basic stages. The first one being demoralization. It takes from 15 to 20 years to demoralize a nation. Why that many years? Because this is the minimum number of years which requires to educate one generation of students in the country of your enemy, exposed to the ideology of the enemy. In other words, Marxism-Leninism ideology is being pumped into the soft heads of at least 3 generations of American students without being challenged or counterbalanced by the basic values of Americanism, American patriotism. The result you can see. Most of the people who graduated in the 60s, dropouts or half-baked intellectuals, are now occupying the positions of power in the government, civil service, business, mass media, educational system. You are stuck with them. You cannot get rid of them. They are contaminated. They are programmed to think and react to certain stimuli in a certain pattern. You cannot change their mind, even if you expose them to authentic information, even if you prove that white is white and black is black, you still cannot change the basic perception and the logic of behavior. In other words, these people, the process of demoralization is complete and irreversible. To get rid society of these people, you need another 20 or 15 years to educate a new generation of patriotically minded and common sense people who would be acting in favor and in the interests of the United States society.
And yet these people who've been programmed and, as you say, in place, and
Yes.
who are favorable to an opening with the Soviet concept, these are the very people who would be marked for extermination in this country?
Most of them, yes. Simply because the psychological shock when they will see in future what the beautiful society of equality and social justice means in practice, obviously they will revolt. They will be very unhappy, frustrated people, and the Marxist-Leninist regime does not tolerate these people. They will join the links of dissenters, dissidents. Unlike in present United States, there will be no place for dissent in future Marxist-Leninist America. Here you can get popular like Daniel Ellsberg and filthy rich like Jane Fonda for being dissident, for criticizing your Pentagon. In future, these people will be simply squashed like cockroaches. Nobody is going to pay them nothing for their beautiful, noble ideas of equality. This they don't understand, and it will be the greatest shock for them, of course. The demoralization process in the United States is basically completed already.
This was in the 60s.
For the last 25 years. Actually, it's overfulfilled because demoralization now reaches such areas where previously not even Comrade Andropov and all his experts would even dream of such a tremendous success. Most of it is done by Americans to Americans, thanks to lack of moral standards. As I mentioned before, exposure to true information does not matter anymore. A person who was demoralized is unable to assess true information. The facts
There it is.
tell nothing to him.
There it is.
Even if I shower him with information, with authentic proof, with
There it
documents, with pictures, even if I take him by force to the Soviet Union and show him concentration camp, he will refuse to believe it
Yep.
until he is going to receive a kick in his fat bottom.
Yep.
When a military boot crashes then he will understand, but not before that. That's the tragic of the situation of demoralization. So basically America is stuck with demoralization, and unless, even if you start right now, here, this minute, you start educating new generation of Americans, it will still take you 15 to 20 years to turn the tide of ideological perception of reality back to normalcy and patriotism. The next stage is destabilization. This time,
that's where we hear now, bro.
Does not care about your ideas and the patterns of your consumption. Whether you eat junk food and get fat and flabby, it doesn't matter anymore.
We're here now.
This time, and it takes only from 2 to 5 years to destabilize a nation. It's what matters is essentials: economy, foreign relations, defense systems. And you can see it quite clearly that in some areas, in such sensitive areas as defense and economy, the influence of Marxist-Leninist ideas in the United States is absolutely fantastic. I could never believe it 14 years ago when I landed in this part of the world that the process will go that fast. The next stage, of course, is crisis. It may take only up to 6 weeks to bring a country to the verge of crisis. You can see it in Central America now. And after crisis, with a violent change of power, structure, and economy, you have so-called the period of normalization. It may last indefinitely. Normalization is a cynical expression borrowed from Soviet propaganda. When the Soviet tanks moved into Czechoslovakia in '68, Comrade Brezhnev said, "Now the situation in brotherly Czechoslovakia is normalized." This is what will happen in the United States if you allow all these schmucks to bring the country to crisis, to promise people all kind of goodies and the paradise on earth, to destabilize your economy, to eliminate the principle of free market competition, and to put a big brother government in Washington, D.C., with benevolent dictators like Walter Mondale, who will promise lots of things, never mind whether the promises are fulfillable or not. He will go to Moscow to kiss the bottoms of new generation of Soviet assassins. Never mind. He will create false illusions that the situation is under control. Situation is not under control. Situation is
new normal,
out of control.
Exactly.
Most of the American politicians, media, and educational system trains another generation of people who think they are living at a peacetime.
Listen.
False. United States is in a state of war. Undeclared total war against the basic principles and the foundations of this system. And the initiator of this war is not Comrade Andropov, of course. It's the system. However ridiculous it may sound, the world communist system or the world communist conspiracy, whether I scare some people or not, I don't give a hoot. If you are not scared by now, nothing can scare you.
You should be.
But you don't have to be paranoid about it. What actually happens now, that unlike myself, you have literally several years to live on unless the United States wake up. The time bomb is ticking with every second.
Okay.
The disaster is coming closer and closer. Unlike myself, you will have nowhere to defect to unless you want to live in Antarctica with penguins. This is it. This is the last country of freedom and possibility.
Okay, so what do we do? What is your recommendation to the American people?
Listen.
Well, the immediate thing that comes to my mind is, of course, there must be a very strong national effort to educate people in the spirit of real patriotism, number one. Number two, to explain them the real danger of socialist, communist, whatever, welfare state,
Listen.
big brother government. If people will fail to grasp the impending danger of that development, nothing ever can help United States. You may kiss goodbye to your freedom, including freedoms to homosexuals, to the prison inmate. All this freedom will vanish, evaporate in 5 seconds, including your precious lives.
Yep.
The second thing, the moment at least part of the United States population is convinced that the danger is real, they have to force their government. And I'm not talking about sending letters, signing petitions, and all this beautiful, noble activity. I'm talking about forcing United States government to stop aiding communism. Because there is no other problem more burning and urgent than to stop the Soviet military-industrial complex from destroying whatever is left of the free world.
I hope y'all really, really listened. Because this is an old video. Dude might as well be talking about right now. Right now. Okay? This is not a conspiracy. It is legitimate. It has been the plan by globalist leaders forever. Forever. And they want to sell you the socialism dream to end up right here. I'm telling you from my Cuban background. He's telling you from his background. We telling you from different places. And I'm going to show you other voices within the community of people of color and the Black community that you need to be paying attention to. Because, listen, we have some time right now to educate and wake up. But if we do not, we are walking ourselves to a plank. And I'm going to prove that to you in a second. All right. That whole video will be linked up as well with my slides. All right. So you really need to be paying attention to what the government is doing, okay? And the leaders in government, all right? What I'm going to show you next is clips from a trial that happened this week against a former person of power in the Department of Justice. He held a trial this week, Rod Rosenstein. Most people don't even know that happened. Lots of things happened this week I'm going to show you in a second y'all should be aware of. But in these clips, he's sitting with the Senate, and the Senate is bringing charges to him. And I want you to listen really, really close to what he's being charged with. Because the reason I want you to hear this is I want you to understand how already 3-letter organizations that should be protecting our country and should be working for us are not. And instead, they've been spending particularly the last 3 years, okay, trying to get rid of a nationalist president and steer the ship back in the direction of this bullshit. Okay? So I want you to listen to these charges real quick. Lindsey Graham and Ted Cruz. These are 2 of our senators. We're going to start with Lindsey.
Investigation. We'll have 5-minute rounds, and as usual, I'll try to make sure you not cut off at 5 minutes and finish your thought. And I appreciate all the participation. Mr. Rosenstein, thank you very much for coming to the committee voluntarily, and we appreciate your service to our country and your participation in the hearing today. And I'll try to do a pretty short opening statement. Senator Feinstein, then we'll get right to the witness. So why are we here? I think we have a clip that I'd like to play now. This is of Mr. Rosenstein, May 1st, 2018.
It really does illustrate, though.
Wait a minute. Turn it up. Stop.
The distinction between the way we operate in the department, and we make mistakes. That's not to say we're flawless, but the way we operate in the Department of Justice, if we're going to accuse somebody of wrongdoing, we have to have admissible evidence, credible witnesses. We need to be prepared to prove our case in court, and we have to affix our signature to the charging document. That's something that not everybody appreciates. There's a lot of talk about FISA applications, and many people that I see talking about it seem not to recognize what a FISA application. A FISA application is actually a warrant, just like a search warrant. In order to get a FISA search warrant, you need an affidavit signed by a career federal law enforcement officer who swears that the information in the affidavit is true and correct to the best of his knowledge and belief. And that's the way we operate. And if it's wrong, sometimes it is, if you find out there's anything incorrect in there, that person is going to face consequences. Sometimes there are innocent errors, but if not, you can face discipline or potentially even prosecution. So.
Well, thank you. That was delivered at the Freedom Forum by Mr. Rosenstein in May of 2018, and you described the way the system's supposed to work. And what brings us here is the fact it didn't work that way. We know now, based on the Horowitz report that was delivered to this committee in December 2019, that the FISA warrant application process did not work the way Mr. Rosenstein described it in 2018. What do we know? We know that exculpatory information was withheld from the court. We know, according to Mr. Horowitz, without the Steele dossier, paid for by the Democratic Party, prepared by a former British agent working with a Russian subsource, without that dossier, there would have been no warrant issued against Carter Page. We also now know that an email was doctored to get the FISA warrant by a lawyer at the FBI. So why are we here? We're trying to find out how that happened. We're trying to find out how Crossfire Hurricane got so off script. And our desire is to make sure it never happens again.
All right, so for y'all who don't understand because you haven't watched my other videos, what he is basically saying is that we have evidence that all this information has been falsified to run this impeachment against this president in the FBI. That organization falsified information. Okay? They faked it. That's crazy. Which goes against everything the Department of Justice stands for. So this is what Senator Lindsey Graham's trying to talk about. He's like, we're trying to figure out, how did this happen? Okay? Now, Ted Cruz is going to be a lot less cool than Lindsey Graham about this. But Ted is on fire in this clip. So I really want y'all to hear him.
Cruz.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Prior to 2016 and 2017, the worst known instance of abuse of power by an administration was Richard Nixon's abuse of his administration to target his political enemies. By any measure, what the Obama-Biden administration did in 2016 and 2017 makes everything Richard Nixon even contemplated pale in comparison, and Richard Nixon rightfully faced impeachment and ultimately resigned as a consequence of his misconduct. The evidence that has been made public has made clear that the Obama administration targeted his political opponents, targeted President Trump and his campaign, unleashed, weaponized, and politicized the Department of Justice, the FBI, and the intelligence community, and that the decision-making to do so went right up to the very top. We know that on January 4th, 2017, the FBI concluded in the document that has just been released that General Michael Flynn was, quote, no longer a viable candidate to be part of this larger case. Their investigation did not yield any information on which to predicate further investigative efforts. The FBI is closing this investigation. That was January 4th, 2017. The next day, James Comey, the director of the FBI, is sitting in the Oval Office with Barack Obama, with Joe Biden, and James Comey, according to a memo from Susan Rice, one of the most remarkable CYA memos written in Washington, written on her last day in office, an email to herself saying, by the way, this investigation into the National Security Advisor coming in to the new office, the president has said, do it, quote, by the book. She says by the book 3 times. James Comey tells the president, we're investigating Michael Flynn by the book. Well, unless the book is Richard Nixon's Watergate, the day before the FBI said they were closing the investigation, and there's James Comey telling Barack Obama we're going after General Flynn, a decorated 3-star general, the incoming National Security Advisor of the president, with Joe Biden sitting right there nodding along. Joe Biden himself personally unmasks Michael Flynn's name.
This is a crime, by the way.
That's the world you came into, Mr. Rosenstein. That's the Department of Justice you came into. where it had been corrupted and politicized. You've read the Inspector General report, Mr. Rosenstein?
I've read most of it, yes, sir.
You've read the 17 repeated material misstatements documented within the Inspector General report.
I have read that, yes, sir.
You're aware one of those is a lawyer fraudulently altering an email, creating counterfeit evidence that became the predicate for a sworn statement in the FISA court.
That is in the Inspector General's report, yes, sir.
Are you aware of other instances of Department of Justice employees fraudulently creating evidence to submit to court?
Every instance that I'm aware of, Senator, would be appropriately investigated and hopefully appropriate action would be taken.
Mr. Rosenstein, on May 17th, you appointed Bob Mueller the special counsel. On June 29th, you signed the third FISA application. On August 2nd, you signed the second scope application. You came into a profoundly politicized world, and yet all of this was allowed to go forward under your leadership. That unfortunately leads to only two possible conclusions. Either that you were complicit in the wrongdoing, which I don't believe was the case, or that your performance of your duties was grossly negligent.
Right. Okay. So, why is this important? I have one more from Ted Cruz because I want you to see how many crimes have been committed by one organization, this organization, and this organization, because they were complicit, which responded to the Department of Justice to try and take out this guy simply because he did not fit the plan, simply because he was not supposed to win. The other chick was. She was supposed to win and follow the New World Order plan, right to her death. That's what was supposed to happen. But that didn't happen. So then all this stuff had to happen to get rid of the dude up here because he's not following marching orders. Okay? That's how that happened. All right. So they're in trial right now, by the way. Y'all should know. I'm going to skip the other video. If you're in my Patreon, you'll be able to watch it. All right, so let's get one thing very clear. Up until this moment, every major department in this nation has been infiltrated without question and abusing their power and encouraging abuse of its power in various extensions of its department, including law enforcement. That's how this all ties together. So if y'all want to clean up law enforcement, pay attention to who the hell you are allowing to sit in the highest offices of this freaking country. Okay? Because that's what they want. They want us to end up fighting each other, creating chaos. Then they come in with this New World Order and they're like, oh, look, we got a plan. Let us save you. And then we all just say yes because we're a hot mess. We don't even know who we are. That's the plan. Okay? Now, in this moment, I'm going to take an opportunity to call out the media once again as being completely complicit and full of crap and completely in it to try and create a walking the plank experience for all of us. Stop reading the Washington Post, stop reading the New York Times, stop reading liberal media because they are walking us to the damn plank. And I'm going to prove it to you in a second. Again, I got more receipts. Hang tight. Okay? Yes, problem, reaction, solution. Exactly. That's what's happening. And we are not paying attention. They're creating the problems. This thing happens and then they're like, hey, look, we have a solution for you. Buy it from us. Okay? The very same people giving you the solution started the problem. All right? This is crazy-ish, dudes. This is not a freaking sci-fi film. Here's the stuff you're not seeing on the media. They don't want to share that with you. Okay. Here's a group of protesters protecting a police officer that got separated from his troop. I think that's extremely heroic and noble. I think protesting for what you believe in is heroic and noble. 100,000%. I'm not in here for the violence bit. I'm a pacifist. I have been a pacifist for a long freaking time. So that's not my jam. But I believe 100% in protesting. Now, there are a couple other things you didn't see, namely this dude right here. And what's really funny about this video is like the news is reporting some cars on fire, and this Patriot right here done unarmed someone who's starting problems. And nobody says anything. This dude finds a freaking assault rifle inside of this car. This dude don't take it. Quit. Quit. Quit.
All right, it looks like there's some type of weapon there. We're going to break away from that shot there. I'm not sure who that
Get out of
person
here,
is, but obviously
suckers.
a very
Get out of
scary
here.
influence.
Y'all see that clip on the media? Y'all see that? They share that? No. Okay? Those are normal freaking people on the streets trying to save everybody's ass from these crazy mofos who are in here inciting violence, which, by the way, were not the citizens of those cities. Okay? All the violence that you have been seeing has been incited on purpose and not by the people who live there. Okay? They want you to think it's those people. They want you to think it's this community, that community. That's what they want you to think. Okay? These are hired specific individuals who are doing a job. New World Order, create chaos. Remember the KGB video I just shared with you. Okay? Same thing the dude was talking about. That's what these people were here to do. They were here to do a job. Okay? All right. They're also not showing you clips like this. Which I'm going to stop screen sharing so I can share this video with you guys.
This is America. Don't got you slipping up. Look how I'm living up. Police be tripping up. Yeah, this is America. Guns in my area. I got the strap. Say congratulations. This is America. Don't got you slipping up. Don't got you slipping up. Look what I'm living up. This is America. Don't got you slipping up. Don't got you slipping up.
Seeing that kind of stuff matters. You might think it doesn't matter. It does matter. And the fact that we are not being shown images like that more often, that's a problem. That should communicate to you right away, not that there's a lack of those moments, but that we are not being shown them for a reason, because that's not the programming or the narrative that they want. Okay? Let's be real specific about why you're not seeing that. All right. Let's get back to the slides. Okay. So in the following slide, I'm going to address point for point some issues that people have had with POTUS. Okay? So, they mad because POTUS used the word thugs. All right? They're mad because the riots are being criticized and people feel like they have a right to loot and violence and la 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 la. So I'm going to share a video clip of President Obama addressing the Baltimore riots so that we can all be clear about this.
First, obviously our thoughts continue to be with the family of Freddie Gray. Understandably, they want answers. And the DOJ has opened an investigation. It is working with local law enforcement to find out exactly what happened, and I think there should be full transparency and accountability. Second, my thoughts are with the police officers who were injured in last night's disturbances. It underscores that that's a tough job. And we have to keep that in mind. And my hope is that they can heal and get back to work as soon as possible. Point number 3, there's no excuse for the kind of violence that we saw yesterday.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It is counterproductive. When individuals get crowbars and start prying open doors to loot, they're not protesting. They're not making a statement.
They're not making a statement.
They're stealing.
Okay.
When they burn down a building, they're committing arson.
Okay.
And they're destroying and undermining businesses and opportunities in their own communities
Okay.
that rob jobs and opportunity from people in that area. So it is entirely appropriate that the mayor of Baltimore, who I spoke to yesterday, and the governor, who I spoke to yesterday, work to stop that kind of senseless violence and destruction. That is not a protest. That is not a statement. It's people, a handful of people taking advantage of a situation for their own purposes, and they need to be treated as criminals.
They need to be treated as criminals. That from Obama. Okay, I just wanted to be clear about what someone else's opinion was on that. Because everybody got on POTUS's ass for saying that. But I just wanted y'all to see, generally speaking, I know you feel entitled and righteous in what you're doing. But I want you to understand it was never going to end well because nobody was going to agree with this. Nobody. Not current president, not previous president. Then, Obama stands by the term thugs, which he used to describe the people who were doing the looting. Okay, so let's look at this real quick. President Obama doesn't regret using the term thug in describing the violent rioters in Baltimore this week, spokesman Josh Earnest said Wednesday. Whether it's arson or, the looting of a liquor store, those were thuggish acts, Earnest said. In discussing the riots Tuesday, Obama assailed the criminals and thugs who tore up the place and described them as a distraction from the real issues of police brutality. Some critics ascribe racial connotations to the word thug. Baltimore Mayor Stephanie Rawlings Blake walked back the term earlier this week, but Obama doesn't agree, officials said. He does not agree. All right. Are we all on the same page? This wasn't something Trump just decided to pick up and shout at people, okay? It's been said. It was already said. This exact scenario had happened. And he said that about police brutality. It was like literally the same thing. So I just want y'all to see, because we have amnesia and we forget about the shit that happens. So that was my little bit of journalistic work for you to be able to show you that this was generally a consensus. Now, next part of this presentation might get a little bit heated because y'all really want POTUS to be a racist, okay? Y'all really want to hate him. I understand. People want to talk trash and call him a racist. So we're going to check that out because I want to see if he has A, said comments that lead to that, and B, has taken actions that demonstrate that. Okay? Because it's not just what someone says. Someone can say lots of nice things, but what do their actions do? What happens after they're done talking? Because I want to know, what are you saying? Okay? What are you saying? All right. Let's look. All right. So, definition of a racist: a person who shows or feels discrimination or prejudice against people of other races, or who believes that a particular race is superior to another race. All right. I got 3 videos for y'all because I needed to go in on this. So here is one. We're going to watch a few minutes of each.
Now to the White House, where the president today made his strongest denunciation yet of white supremacy. Weijia Jiang is there.
In one voice, our nation must condemn racism, bigotry, and white supremacy.
Okay.
President Trump denounced white supremacy today. 2 years ago, when a white nationalist rally in Charlottesville, Virginia turned deadly, the president said this.
You also had people that were very fine people on both sides.
Today, Mr. Trump pledged more federal resources to combat domestic terrorism. He also recommended curbing the glorification of violence found in video.
All right. So, right out of his mouth, he just said he doesn't stand for that. Okay? Right out of his mouth. he also wanted to show, yes, there are protesters, okay, and they are doing what they're gonna do, but then there's these other people in there not doing protesting, okay? So he does not support white supremacy. Get a new argument. Just like last week, I denounced the whole fascist bullshit, which he's not. He's a nationalist. Let's get it right. No. All right? Next couple videos. Because I was like, one video ain't enough, right? We need to know more. All right. Different times, different scenarios. Let's see. I like this one because it had captions.
Racism is evil, and those who cause violence in its name are criminals and thugs.
Oh, okay.
Including the KKK.
Oh, okay.
Neo-Nazis.
Oh, okay.
White supremacists.
Okay.
And other hate groups that are repugnant to everything we hold dear as Americans.
I don't need to share anything else. Okay? Y'all see? Y'all see? And here's what happens. Okay? There are people who are racist, white supremacist dickheads who support the president. So everybody think because those motherfuckers support the president, now this motherfucker support them. That ain't how that works. Yo, y'all know about unrequited love? Y'all been there? Y'all like, I really like that person, and that person don't give a fuck about you. That happens. It happens politically too, by the way. It ain't his fault those motherfuckers like him. It's not because he likes them. Okay? So let's just get that right. Let's just get it right. Let's get the record straight. Because after these videos, I'm going to go into facts. And I'm going to show you actions that have been taken to back this up. So we can get it right. Okay? Next.
Another topic. Paul Ryan this week said, quote, if a person wants to be the nominee of the Republican Party, there can be no evasion and no games. They must reject any group or cause that is built on bigotry. He was talking about you.
But I've rejected. How many times do I have to reject? I've rejected David Duke. I've rejected the KKK, the Ku Klux Klan. From the time I'm 5 years old, I rejected them. I put it on Twitter last week. How many times? You know, it's an amazing thing with Twitter. I have 6 million, more than 6 million, and I have another 6 million with Facebook.
Listen.
I have like 13 or almost 14 million with Instagram. When I put out a minor message, everybody picks it up. Donald Trump just tweeted something very unimportant. Let me just explain. When I put out that I reject the KKK and David Duke, nobody picks it up. You know why they're not? Because they don't want to pick.
Okay. What did he just say? Number one, he denounced them again. But number two, he's talking about social media bias, which, by the way, is a real friggin' thing. And we're like, it's everywhere. Okay? People who aren't agreeing with certain agenda are getting censored, and people who have been running campaigns against stuff for a long time know that. They know that. They know that for a fact. So what he's saying is certain things get attention and certain things don't. And that is true. I'm sure y'all have experienced that already in your lives. Okay? So, now, all right, sounds good. Dude is saying some stuff that all right, cool. You don't line up with that. All right, but like, what have you done though the time you've been president? You've been president almost 4 years, so what's up? Like, what are you doing for the communities like brown people, black people? What's up? All right, let's go. So, let's look at this real quick. Let's look at actions, not words. So, y'all know about the First Step Act or not? Y'all heard about the First Step Act? Because I had not until recently, okay? So it was signed. Again, I'll share the links to this. These are just screenshots of it. Major win for the movement to end mass incarceration, okay? The First Step Act is consequential because it includes provisions for meaningful sentencing reform, which would reduce the number and amount of people in prison and is part of the starting point of any serious legislation for criminal justice reform. Sentencing laws played a central role in the rise of mass incarceration in recent decades. The federal prison population in particular has risen by more than 700% since 1980, and federal prison spending has increased by nearly 600%. That growth has disproportionately affected African Americans, Native Americans, and Latinos. Okay? All right. Social justice reform, criminal justice reform. Now, how long has it been since we've had criminal reform? Do your research. Decades. Decades. This is a big friggin' deal. Okay? That's just one example. I got more. Did y'all know that 4 months ago, so this was February of 2020, the president met with black leaders in the community? No one knew that. But wait a second, let's hear about it.
Well, I want to thank you very much. We're here with some of the black leaders of our country and people that are highly respected.
Okay.
And people that have done a fantastic job, and for the most part have been working on this whole situation with me right from the beginning. And we've done a lot. We've done opportunity zones, we've done criminal justice reform, we've done things that people didn't even think possible. Criminal justice reform, we've let a lot of great people out of jail.
All right, there's a whole video. It's long. It's an hour meeting. He had that video up. That was 3 months ago. He met with all of those leaders in a roundtable discussion to talk about what they need in their communities. But he's racist. I swear to God. The media, I just want to chokehold all of you. Oh my God. I'm so sick. I'm so sick of the media and what it's doing right now. Trying to tear down a nationalist president. I'm telling y'all think I'm wild. I'm not. Here's another article. Links will be provided. Here are some stats, and that's why I shared this. Okay? Here we go. Since Mr. Trump's inauguration, the U.S. economy has created a whopping, is that 1 million? It is, 1,017,000 jobs for African Americans, including many here in Ohio. Today, the national black unemployment rate is at an all-time low of 5.5%. Unemployment for black women is even lower at just 4.4%. More importantly, the overall black-white employment gap is smaller than ever. Okay. Also created the Opportunity Zones Initiative, which is spurring even more growth in underdeveloped communities nationwide. Through targeted tax incentives, the initiative is projected to generate about $100 billion of private investment in communities that need it the most. Okay, what's up? What's up? What's up? Like, money where your mouth is. What's up? Okay? This is what I'm interested in. I'm interested in a president that's actually doing shit. I don't want you to sound pretty, although that feeds my ego when you sound pretty on TV. But I want you to do shit for the people that need it. Okay? So I just shared 3 examples that should matter a great deal to you. Criminal justice reform, roundtable meeting with the leaders in the community to hear from them exactly what their communities are needing, unemployment policy, opportunity zones. Sorry, 4 things. Okay. Now that we got that out of the way and we clarified that he's not a racist, then y'all need to change your minds about what you're talking about. Now, here's what's really interesting. I took this article straight from the Epic Times. So, Democrats versus Republicans on handling riots. Now, again, parties, they're bullshit, in my opinion. But what I found really interesting and notable is what they each wanted to put attention on. And it's especially notable because of the presser that Kayleigh McEnany held, and I'm going to share a little bit of that below. Okay, so you might have seen it shared that the president, of course they blame everything on him, used tear gas and rubber bullets against people so he can take a picture in front of a church. That didn't happen. Okay, so I'm about to tell you what did happen, and I have the presser for you guys to watch, which explains that. All right, so Senate Republicans blocked a Democratic resolution on Tuesday that would have condemned President Trump for the alleged use of gas and rubber bullets against protesters near the White House. The resolution would have affirmed the constitutional rights of Americans to peacefully assemble and exercise freedom of speech. It also would have condemned Trump for ordering federal officers to use gas and rubber bullets against Americans who were peacefully protesting in Lafayette Square in Washington, D.C. on the night of June 1st, thereby violating the constitutional rights of those peaceful protesters. Okay, so if a senator objects, they should be asked if they believe Americans do not have the constitutional right to exercise freedom of speech. Do they support the president's use of tear gas against people, including families who are peacefully protesting in a public park? Okay. However, the resolution was blocked by the Senate which they said, I thought this was funny, just indulges in a myopic obsession with the president, and which has come to define the Democratic side. And I actually find that to be really true. Like, it's very strange to me how, like, hyper-focused they are on him. Like, I find that weird. Anyways, the Republicans said, we're not doing that. Okay, the Democrats wanted something that would condemn the president. Look at what they're trying to create. They have all this power to make decisions, and they're like, we want to make a reform to condemn the president for X actions. Meanwhile, he offered a resolution that condemned racial injustice and riots and called for order to be restored so that the legitimate grievances of peaceful protesters may be heard and considered. All right. On one side, we're like, we want to pass something to condemn that guy. And on the other side, they're like, why the fuck are you doing that? Just pass something to condemn racial injustice and fix this problem so we can listen to the people who actually have issues. Okay? This is why reading shit is important and doing research. All right? Where are people interested? What are they interested in? This matters. Okay? Now, this presser by Kayleigh McEnany is long, and I didn't have time to clip it for you guys so you could catch it. But just watch the first 2 minutes of this presser where she basically explains what happened with that particular incident. Is the night before, Attorney General Barr had asked for the perimeter to be expanded around, especially the church, because it was still burning. He didn't want it to continue to burn. So the Attorney General of the U.S. requested the perimeter be expanded, at which point the guards asked everybody to move out of the way. Except, oh wait, they didn't. Because it didn't happen the night before when he gave the order and when he said that that needed to happen. So the following day, A.G. Barr shows up and he's like, why didn't y'all do what I told y'all to do? Y'all need to move, okay? At which point, the guards then started moving people out, and they used something, which was pepper something. I don't know what the name of the thing is, but she talks about it in the presser. So watch the presser so you can hear it from her words. They did not use rubber bullets against their people. And that's why it happened sort of in time when he walked out. But it was on the order of Attorney General. It wasn't the president's order, and the president did not order that. Again, so important to make sure you are reading and like really figuring things out for yourself, because people are writing clickbait articles, and I'm going to prove it to you in a second, that make you believe whatever they want. And it's freaking nuts. I don't have time to share this because we're running out of time. But let's carry on. Okay, so I found this paper, digging through the trenches of Twitter, which is by an organization called the Friends of Democracy. And I pulled up this piece of paper, which we're going to look at together, because it's an actual piece of paper written by somebody, hiring some people to do writing work back in, I believe it's 2015. Okay, here's this paper. You can see it's actually a scanned piece of paper. It's not just like here's a map of a city. If I'm not mistaken, this was actually Baltimore. That's when this was being hired, okay? But look at the instructions. This is a pay for hire for rioting. This is what this is, okay? Post-action objectives: agitation of local civilian population, escalation of civil arrest, provocation of hostile, what? Secondary, tertiary, ideal, civil unrest that leads to the deployment of martial law-like policies. You don't freaking say. Here, approved practices. Here's what you can do. You may not under any circumstances deviate from the practices enumerated in this section. Okay. Funding. This does not leave this document. Okay. The disbursement of funds will occur in 3 stages. Do not report this income to anybody. Read this. Okay. Somebody hired somebody to do this. Okay? And if they've done it before, they did it now. That's a freaking document. Okay? Now, I have an article as well that I have attached, which breaks down the piece of paper I just showed you. Here's part 1 of it. It breaks down this entire document so you know exactly what you're looking at. Okay? That'll be available to my peeps. So if Floyd's death was a false flag, which is what many people are assuming, meaning it was designed to incite a specific response. We talked about that in last week's video. That's not what this week's video is about, so go back and watch that. I'm not being insensitive to the topic. I already talked about the topic. Why would it be happening now? Well, because 3 things have happened that nobody seems to know about. Number 1 is that Hillary lost her appeal and has to give a live deposition. Y'all know that? Y'all know that she tried to get out of giving a live deposition about her emails and what she was involved in. She tried to make an excuse for why she couldn't do that. She had an court date this week, and she lost it. So she has to show up live now and give a deposition. Interesting. Okay, wonder what we're going to learn. Probably lots of fascinating things. Next thing is former Deputy Attorney Rod Rosenstein went to court and threw Comey and McCabe under the bus. Yeah, so this was a clips I was showing you about the senators, okay? Talking about what happened between the FBI and the DOJ. That's happening this week. And lastly, the Senate subpoenaed everyone involved in the Russian hoax impeachment scandal. This means Obama as well. So Crossfire Hurricane is the name of that operation. This is from the Epic Times, describing how they have subpoenaed everybody who was involved. All 3 of those things happened this week. All right. Now, these are really important videos for you to understand from voices of people of color, Black people, talking about what's happening from the inside, okay? So I'm just gonna play like 2 minutes of each video just so y'all can understand why they matter and just listen to the voices, okay? And then I'm gonna leave the links up so that people can track it down.
Not sure if I'm even doing this right, but here you go. I just want to say something. Just got into a beef with my best friend over some political issues. I just wish people would wake up and realize that Trump is not fighting against you. Trump is not fighting against Black people. He's not fighting against Spanish people. He's not fighting against transgender. He's not fighting against Mexicans or none of that shit. Trump is fighting against globalists. Globalists that don't have nothing to do with none of us. Globalists. They are people who believe in one world order, one world agenda. The bankers, the money, the movie makers. They the ones who hate Trump for a reason, because he's not their plan. He's not part of their agenda. Trump done went over there, got North Korea to put down their guns. He done squashed the beef with motherfucking Russia. He done told China to stop playing with us and pay us our money. Went to the European Union, told them that y'all owe us money, time to pay up, or y'all not gonna get no security. He done cut the goddamn corporate tax from 35% to 21%, making us more fucking competitive in the global market. Black people unemployment rate is at its all-time low. Women's unemployment rate all-time low. Spanish people unemployment rate all-time low. You got jobs coming back to Pennsylvania, people pouring steel again in America, shit that they say that we wasn't gonna never have again. And they still try to make this a black and white issue. Now is not the time for angry Black people to stand up. Now is not the time for fucking angry Mexicans to stand up. Now is not the time for fucking transgenders to stand up. Now is the time for fucking patriots to stand up. Patriots who love America. When I find out is most motherfuckers don't like America. They say fuck America when it's all said and done at the end of the argument. It's time for patriots to stand up. I understand America got a rough history, but a lot of people died for this country that was Black, who died for this country too. And you just don't love the country. Go the fuck somewhere else. Go somewhere else if you don't like America. Okay? Because this shit ain't about you. I'm Black. I don't even know white people. This shit ain't even about me. This is about America. We've been losing on every fucking thing, on everybody money across the world, but nobody don't owe us shit. China's stealing all our intellectual properties and selling to the rest of the world for pennies on the fucking dollar. We losing. This man trying to stand up for the country. We can fix the rest of this shit later. First, we got to save the motherfucking ship. The ship has been sinking. Has been sinking. You trying to put a Band-Aid on it, fix them up, save the country, then we can fix this racism shit and all this other shit that y'all keep crying about. It's time for patriots to stand up. I'm a fucking patriot. I love America. I love the freedom that it gives me here. Yeah, we got racism issues, but that's not the biggest issue. People don't understand. Trump supporters is about one thing: America first. That means we don't want to hear about your racist shit. We want to hear about your fucking Mexicans. We want to hear about your fucking transgenders and none of this shit. We want to talk about America first. And right now, we are winning. We are respected in the world right now. Okay? We're making money. People know not to play with us. Trump's number one job is commander-in-chief of our military. People say, oh, Trump going to start a war. Where the fuck is the war? He squashed the beef. You hear me? Squash the beef. North Korea, no, don't fuck with us no more, little rocket boy, because we would smash your ass. Take real balls to do that. You ain't playing with these people. And then they try to say he colluded with Russia. Colluded with Russia for what? For peace? We was about to go with World War III fucking with Hillary and them. Don't y'all remember? Russia moved their fucking air defense to Syria. America moved their shit to Syria. The line was drawn in the sand. We were supposed to be gone. Hillary supposed to be the president. We were supposed to set the shit off. It wasn't their plan for Trump to win.
Yeah, so that guy knows more about politics than most people that I know, and I was like freaking floored because in a very short amount of time he freaking laid it out, which was nuts. I was like, dude. So again, that video will be linked as well on there. And then this guy, I actually had to download this video because it got erased once and I was afraid it was going to be erased again. So he was actually part of, I don't know how involved he was with Black Lives Matter, but he was involved to some degree. And he had been doing this for a long time. He was a leader in the movement. So this is his piece about that.
Chaziel Sons. And I haven't really been hitting nobody in the head. I've been doing a whole lot of growth, a whole lot of growing in the last about year and a half, 2 years. And I want to make this video because, you know, I've been concentrating on just family and close friends and whatnot, and just kind of leaving the movement to the professionals. And it was just like, you know, I'm basically say it like this. Around the time I say probably the end of 2015, somewhere in there, probably going into 2016, I started to notice, I began to notice infiltrators coming into the movement, which is already, it's been like this for a long time, but I actually started to see them all online, making fake pages, and basically these fake people, part of the black movement or whatever you want to call it, were basically, you know, feeding off our emotions, trying to get us involved in things that we're not involved in, trying to get us to believe in things that we weren't familiar with, and basically pushing us to be more left and democratic. And one thing I want to say right now is, if you are a revolutionary or anything like that, you don't even believe, you're not even supposed to believe in politics. So for the people who still are believing that this movement, this black movement, even some of these white movements are legit, man, you have a lot of growing to do. I'm going to say it again, you have a lot of growing to do. And I'm going to concentrate right now, anyway, on the black leaders. Okay? The black leaders, a lot of the black leaders, and I want to hit with this video. A lot of the black leaders are straight leading us to our demise. Okay? They have us working, doing their dirty work. For it's their dirty work, I mean the far left's dirty work. They got us working basically for them, because how they're getting us is they're playing us emotionally. And they're basically saying how racist and how messed up guys on the far right and neo-Nazis are, because they need all the help that they can get. So they're getting the gays, they're getting people of other cultures, the people of the far left. I'm talking about the far left. I'm getting somewhere with this. They're getting gays, they're getting black people, anybody who doesn't like Donald Trump. They're basically
this was
trying
2017.
to get you to fight for a war that is being started on American turf very, very soon. And they want us to be a part of their side. What I'm trying to get the black population to understand and understand, and this is critical, is the movement has been compromised. Okay, everybody needs to know that the RBG movement has been compromised.
Listen now.
BLM, if you are not caught up to BLM, it is not even a real black organization. It never was. I actually feel bad that I've been keeping a lot of this information cooped up for so long, but I just felt like, it wasn't getting anywhere. But now things are about to go ahead and hit the fan. Anyways, if you have any kind of brain, BLM is endorsed by the Soros in the Clinton family. If you have any kind of a brain, you know that those same people don't give a damn about you, don't give a damn about black people, don't give a damn. They're exploiting the black plight to make money off of you. They're using your emotions, and based off what has happened to you, they're using that against you so you can join these evil, demonic people to help fight the people on the far right. They want, or not even the far right. I want to make this simple. The left is going against the right. It's a huge civil war that's being planned out. I want to make this simple.
Yeah, so that guy said it. And again, I will share the link to that video and the credit to the person who uploaded that video, which you can see in the video. Yeah, he said it. So what starts to happen in my brain when I start to watch these many kinds of videos from unrelated people and people who were in movements is my gears start turning and I start wondering what is actually going on, because they know something we don't know. Okay? So hopefully what this is doing is getting your gears turning. Now, I want to call out some motherfuckers because I'm really pissed at this kind of stuff. Like this bitch right here, sharing this shit right here. Dog whistle to white nationalists and Nazis. Except for the motherfucking fact that this is a photoshopped picture. This is his dude's hand right here. This dude probably never even seen a Bible his whole goddamn life, and the original picture of that is just his hand up. Okay? This is a doctored photo. It is doctored. And we saw this shit, this messed up shit on Twitter, okay? Which, by the way, he said civil war, Angela. Which, by the way, last week I shared a picture of a famous rapper sharing misinformation again on Twitter. Y'all need to wisen up and pay attention to what is being shared. Okay? Okay. Now I want to call out motherfucking Independent for being another shithole of a fucking media channel. I'm going to call you what you are, because if you are putting clickbait motherfucking titles like this right here, you're a garbage dumpster fire media station. Okay? They ran this stupid clickbait article, which I saw shared 3 times on social media today because ain't nobody watched this whole damn thing. That's what happens every time. They're counting on you being stupid. Okay? Listen to me. They're counting on you being stupid. This title says, Trump says he hopes George Floyd's looking down and seeing today's job numbers as a great day for him. That's not what the fuck he said when he was talking about George Floyd. Okay? That's not what the fuck he said. Let's get it real fucking straight, because I screen recorded this shit myself from my phone so y'all can listen to the words out of his goddamn mouth. He talked about job numbers today. He also talked about George Floyd. That's not what the fuck he said. So let's listen to what he actually said. Dumpster Fire Independent.
And all of the things. And by the way, hurting many small businesses, you can't let it happen. Equal justice under the law must mean that every American receives equal treatment in every encounter with law enforcement, regardless of race, color, gender, or creed. They have to receive fair treatment from law enforcement. They have to receive it. We all saw what happened last week. We can't let that happen. Hopefully George is looking down right now and saying there's a great thing that's happening for our country. There's a great day for him. It's a great day for everybody.
Okay, so let's be clear. What he was talking about was this is unacceptable and it shouldn't ever exist. Okay? And he was saying hopefully he is looking down and thinking this is a great thing that's happening to the country, meaning the awareness that all of a sudden everybody has about the injustices in this country affecting the black community, people of color, etc., 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 right? Because there's been a lot of activation over this, a lot of people waking up, a lot of people becoming conscious. It has activated us, right? That's what the fuck he said. Y'all heard anything about job numbers in there? No. Okay? So stop sharing clickbait article titles. Stop it. Watch the dang videos. Okay? Watch them in full. Don't watch snippets either, because people be doctoring videos of all kind of people. People be doctoring Hillary videos. People be doctoring Obama videos. You can make anybody sound like an idiot by taking a video and editing it and chopping up and then sending it to people. Anybody can sound stupid. Okay? So be smart, y'all. You are smart people. Be smart. Act smart. Share smart information. Okay? It is irresponsible to share this shit without verifying it for yourself. Dang. Shit makes my blood boil. Next. Little message here from Attorney General Barr. We know who you are.
Unfortunately, the aftermath of George Floyd's death has produced a second challenge to the rule of law. While many have peacefully expressed their anger and grief, others have hijacked protests to engage in lawlessness. Violent rioting, arson, looting of businesses and public property, assaults on law enforcement officers and innocent people, and even the murder of a federal agent. Such senseless acts of anarchy are not exercises of First Amendment rights. They are crimes designed to terrify fellow citizens.
Obama said this,
and
y'all.
intimidate
Obama
communities.
said this. Go back to the beginning
As I
of the
told
video.
the governors on Monday, we understand the distinction between three different sets of actors here. The large preponderance of those who are protesting are peaceful demonstrators who are exercising their First Amendment rights. At some demonstrations, however, there are groups that exploit the opportunity to engage in such crimes as looting. And finally, at some demonstrations, there are extremist agitators who are hijacking the protests to pursue their own separate and violent agenda. We have evidence that Antifa and other similar extremist groups, as well as actors of a variety of different political persuasions, have been involved in instigating and participating in the violent activity. And we are also seeing foreign actors playing all sides
Foreign
to
actors?
exacerbate the violence.
Oh, okay.
The Department of Justice is working to restore order in the District of Columbia and around the nation.
Okay, everybody. Okay, everybody. When Attorney General Barr, y'all don't follow him like I follow him, says we have evidence, that means they know. They know. Okay? And I've seen lots of people pass around this stuff like, it's the far right. It ain't. It ain't. And Antifa's a loosely organized organization. It ain't. It ain't. Okay? It ain't. They tell you one thing, they do another. That's how the people work. Okay? Pay attention. Read titles. Pay attention. Okay? Last thing I'm going to close with is something that was just passed today. Okay? By the Democratic Party. Okay? Democrats to release broad legislation package Monday to fight racial inequalities. I specifically want you to pay attention to this motherfucking word right here. Broad. Broad. You know what that broad word means? That means we're going to put other shit in this legislation that ain't have nothing to do with racial inequality, and we're going to expect that you pass it so you can get racial equality programs. That's what that means. You know why I know that? Because they already did that with the stimulus package. They wanted to pass a broad stimulus relief fund. And in it, they tried to sneak in the new Green Deal and blah, 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 and all these other things that were completely unrelated to the stimulus. They're going to try to do it again. Watch now. Watch. Okay? Because I'm not new to this game. I've been following them. I know how they work. I hope and I pray that's not what they're doing. But I trust this bitch as far as I could throw her. So, no, I'm not going to trust that. But pay attention now. When the documents come out, read them. Don't accept broad anything. Read. Watch the video. Okay? I made it real easy. The links to all of these things are going to be on YouTube, the links, and the slides are going to Patreon. Which, if you become a patron at any rank, you'll have access to them. I don't withhold information. I give some special privileges to the upper two tiers, but everybody else is equal in the Patreon, okay? This is really important, friends. Patriots, friends, okay? Because this right here, I love when Chad said I want to make a statement. What do you say? Understand and overstand? Like, I want you all to understand and overstand what I'm trying to say right now, okay? Going back to that first slide when I began this thing, and I said to you, this isn't about parties anymore. It's about this versus this. We need to vote for this, not this. Okay? Not this. That is not in our best interest. That is not what's best for us. Okay? And if you really want to handle injustices at the ground level, we got to go up. We got to handle them all the way up. And we need all the warriors doing all the research and all the things that, like I am, Young Pharaoh's doing, which is amazing. Sasha Stone and his interviews have been amazing. Like, we have to do this work on all levels, or else we're not going to get the change that we want. Please stay vigilant. Please pray and meditate over this nation, over the world, for this systemic corruption, which has been friggin' deep, to be eliminated and pulled out at the root, so that we can finally freaking see the kind of justice and equality that we all want, because I deeply believe that we all want it. But inequality was never supposed to go away, guys. It was supposed to stay here. It was supposed to continue to drive a stake between us. It was supposed to do that. That was its job. We can't let that be the case. And it starts right now. We have been activated. We are awake. We're mad. Use that energy and really help other people understand what's going on. Bring them to this show. You don't have to do the same research. Just bring them to where I am. Let them watch these videos. This is the 27th one. I got 26th one. Okay? This is deep. All right? So please pray. Pray over this nation. I pray over every single one of you who is trying to get down to the truth and trying to really help out. Please pray over myself and my family, and pray that those of us who are doing this work and being brave and going out there, stay out there, because we need everybody right now. Pray for the protesters who are trying to make their voices heard, that they, are in peace, that they are protected, that they are there is a spirit of God over them, because we need this. We need this right now. We need it for all of us. Again, I do these every Friday. This one was really lengthy. I don't know how lengthy the other ones will be, but I wanted to give a quick history lesson in there as well and really help us understand some really important things. Also, on my Patreon, I will be sharing, yes, so COVID-19 did not do what it was supposed to do. That's a whole other thing. It was supposed to create first part of the plan, and then this was going to be another one. That's the other thing I want to say. Thank you, Kobe, for saying that. Please do not be surprised if more of these events happen. I hate saying that. I hate saying that. I wish I didn't have to say that. But I have a very distinct sensation that more of this is going to show up. More crazy shit is going to happen. And when it does, I want you to remember the goal. The goal is to create chaos and division. The goal is to create so many problems that we riot for martial law and we get the president to do that, and then we become a police fucking country and we are screwed. Okay? That's the goal. Do not let that happen. Do not. Okay? Please do not. I'm holding some mass meditation and energy healing every single Monday this month. I'm doing meditation, EFT tapping for everybody. It'll be a public event. So tag your people, come to the events, be here on Mondays so that you can get into that frequency and we can together shift this thing through education, but through energy as well. Energy creates. Energy is creative. We got to get our frequency in check so we can move this thing forward and get where we want to go. Okay? I love you guys so much. Thank you for holding on. And I know this live was really, really long. I want you to hear that, every single one of you. I deeply love you. I love my country. I'm so grateful I'm here. I'm so grateful my family didn't have to stay in that communist regime. I'm so grateful I was given this opportunity to be here, to be a voice, and I will be a voice. That's exactly what I will do. And I promise to each and every one of you that I will be that for us as long as I have it. Okay? You're so welcome. My pleasure. I love you. I love you. All of you. Deeply do. Sending you so much love. Have a great night.